let's get this notification sent out. And wait for a couple people to hop in here. A rare CJBL stream. Send it to Trey, why not? All of my beloved Trey brothers. Very, very funny from the Cry Angle himself. Doesn't bother me though. What's up, bro? That's actually very funny. Yeah, so I can never tell how many people are in here like I can with Zoom, but if you don't know, I did crash CJBL today. I did, in fact, do that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is being an AD. Now, I know a lot of people probably think I'm an idiot as an AD. Not so. Do I need to go through my credentials here? Western Carolina, winning season, bad program. Another winning season at a bad program. Kent State, 28-15. Nevada, 30-14. 34-9. So I do win. I mean, I do win games. I mean, I do win games. I do know what I'm doing. Am I also an idiot? Sure, but it's not the point. I'm going to pull up the new site, too, just in case I want to look at it for anything. I'm still getting used to it. Okay, so basically my idea for this, I never do CJBL content, but I was just thinking, you know what, new program at Brown, why not? Why not just kind of show you guys what I would do with the new program? And plus, I'm very excited about Brown. You know, some people, I'm going to turn this music off for now. Some people might be bummed out by going from a really high program to a program like Brown, but I'm actually excited because we're going to take them from extremely low to extremely high. That's what we're going to do. Very first thing that I do, how many people? Let me check something real quick. All right. I figured out how to see how many people. There's 12 people in here. That's not too bad. The first thing I do as soon as I get a new team, which is every season basically, I'm getting pinged left and right. Can you show your team's records after you leave them with no recruits? I have no idea what you're talking about. Who would do that? The first thing I want to do is just get familiar with the roster. So obviously, me taking over Brown, it's my first year. It's not the kind of system I would typically run, but that's okay. I've run balance before in CJBL. I don't even think that the philosophy matters that much in CJBL, to be honest. In Pro, it does because all the players are excellent, and you want to make sure that everything is like min-maxed, but especially if you're one of these like low prestige schools, does it really even matter? I think that the strategy settings probably matter more than anything, and just being able to figure out your roster and how to make it the best it can be. So that's where I always start. I always come to the roster, but personally, I don't like using this, so I always make my own. I don't know if I've shown my stars version of this or not, but I always make one of these, and the reason is because I can use filters. So, you know, let's say I'm at a brand new team. I come in, I put the player's name, their position, their class, their height, their weight, the wingspan, just the stuff that I need to know. And then I lay them out how I'm going to use them. So I can I want to visualize these players in lineups. So you can see here I've got my starters, I've got my second unit, and then I have bench players. I actually didn't end up signing anybody in high school recruiting. So My bench is small, but that's okay. I'm not very locked into Brown like I am to the Pro League. But at the end of the day, I like to lay them out in lineups. Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. It's just how I like to look at it. And then I put all of their ratings. And my wife is in the background brushing her teeth, making all kinds of noise. She'll be done in a second. And then I just laid out exactly how the player cards look. So, it's very easy to put in, and I can just see it. And right off the bat, it just makes it easy to visualize. I can see, we have our low IQ team. And the thing is, like, if you're just looking through players, or even if you're looking at your screen here, just nothing pops out to me, because even if you sort it by the same thing, where'd it go? Yeah, I mean, even if you sort it, you can see there's not a lot of players, but it's just a bunch of random players. I like to see them next to the people they're going to be playing beside. So I can see that even though it makes no sense, we're at Ivy League school, and yet we've got a lot of low IQ players. So that right off the bat I'm just going to scroll through and kind of get an idea of what can I do with this team and what can I not do with this team. So we're not very athletic. We're not a great rebounding team. We have pretty terrible spacing. We're okay at three-point shooting on the perimeter. So we're really good at foul drawing in the second unit. So, maybe you look at this and decide to put Daniels and Dykstra over Pierre and Seguin, and you just decide, like, we're just going to do a drive focus and try to get as many fouls as possible. Probably wouldn't because of the free throw rating, but to me, by far the most important thing is just get familiar with your players, but not as individuals, as units, because any individual player can be good, but, a player is not going to win a game by himself. Two players are not going to win a game by themselves. I think that you win games by putting together great units. And so this is kind of what I put together just off the rip. Oh my gosh, I'm pouring honey on you. Oh gosh. Newcomer AD Gage calls this low IQ, and he doesn't mean just basketball. Yeah, it's true. I never do a serious content. I like being a wacky guy, but you know what? I'm just in a serious content mood today. So that's what you guys are going to get. But yeah, don't think of your team being good or bad from the standpoint of any individual players or a couple players. And for me, as somebody who has taken over a couple different CJBL programs, you're not going to get what you want right off the bat, because you're probably, there's a good chance you're going to take over and get a coach that has philosophy you don't like. There's a good chance that they're going to have personnel that you hate. When I took over Western Carolina and Kent State, I took them both over from Peyton, and they were both grit and grind teams, and I hate grit and grind. And so, how was I able to win games with teams filled of players that I would never ever get? I did this. I tried to put together cohesive units that would play well together, that would complement each other's strengths, that would cover up each other's weaknesses. And I think that you can win with any team if you do that. I am still getting over a sickness, so I might have to pop a cough drop in, take some sips of water. But yeah, so this was just my tentative pass at Brown. And then I ended up going with this, and I'll kind of explain why as I go. But my cats. Let me see what I want to do here. So the thing about Brown is that I don't actually hate the roster. I've not really been a fan of any roster I've taken over except Novato is really awesome. Still probably not what I would have built, but it was really good and easy to work with. And this is another one that is really good for my style. I like Maury ball. I like three-pointers. I like layups. I like free throws. I want, efficient teams that don't turn the ball over. I basically want to beat you with efficiency. I don't know if I can do that with this team yet because I haven't seen the product on the court, but what I do like is that I have plenty of three-point shooting. I've got a 17, a 19, and 18. I got 2 more 16s down here. I don't really care that I don't have a stretch big. I'm at Brown. I'm not going to be playing a bunch of great teams. I'm not going to be facing very hard competition. So I don't need my team to be great. I just need it to be better than whoever I play that day. I also see that we've got lots of free throw shooting, which I love. Being a team that likes to get to the line, pretty much everybody that's going to play for me is going to be able to hit free throws except a couple of these bigs, and I don't really care. Also, decent finishing. So, I have scoring to work with. I also have guys that can create for themselves and shoot off the dribble, which I like. And it doesn't really worry me that I might have too many, cooks in the kitchen, because at the end of the day, at Brown, having, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that can create for themselves a little bit, can shoot off the dribble, and even 3 of them can pass well if it breaks down. Some of these guys are drawing gravity, not great spacing, and look, they can handle the ball too. So I've got offensive juice all over this roster, and because I've laid it out in a way that I'm looking at lineups and not just players, I can see how the offensive juice will work together. I'll go and see defensively, I've got 14, 18, 15 stealing. I got another 16. Now, one thing that you're going to find out once we actually start getting into me building my rotations is in college, I don't play around at all. These guys suck, okay? If you're a person who's only playing at the college level and you've never played pro, you might not understand this, but all college players pretty much suck compared to any pro player. So at the end of the day, I just need guys who can do some things. I don't need them to be perfect. That said, I play my starters a lot, way more than you think. And I do another method that maybe some of you guys will disagree with as you see it. I don't really care. I win way more games I lose doing it. So the reason that I went with this personnel is the three-point shooting, the ability to create. They can ISO. They can handle the ball. I like that. I think these 3 are going to just kind of take turns cooking these crappy Ivy League defenses. I don't know if they're crappy. Who knows? Maybe the Ivy League has great defenses. I've never even looked at one single Ivy League team. The chance that I ever go into JBL and do anything is low, which is why I switched to Brown, because I don't think it's right for me to have an extremely high prestige team and look at it as little as I do. But I'm going to guess they're not the best defenses in the country. I'm pretty sure that Garvey, Roshan, and Gilbert are going to cook these fools. And then, like I said, we're very small. I'm playing 2-point guards here because I just got busy and didn't sign any high schoolers. So probably could have used a shooting guard, but it'll work. It'll be fine. It doesn't really matter. I'm playing in the Ivy League. I'm an extremely low prestige. We can make this work. So after I've kind of laid out the roster, the next thing I'm going to do is, typically I would just have it on a different screen, but I'm going to go into my strategy. Thankfully, because I screwed up the whole CJBL today, Kamish had to put me on my team being ran by AI, and it reset literally everything I set up earlier. So, before I redo it, let's see if it worked. So my first game was against Texas A&M Commerce. This is the game that I was put on AI for. I didn't set these lineups. I didn't set the strategy. And you can see, not a great result for us. We were on the road. We got beat pretty bad. Don't really care. That game doesn't exist to me. Where do I think Brown finishes in the Ivy? Honestly, I don't know. Let's pull it up here. Can I see where we finished last year? Can I see where any of these teams are ranked? I'm sure a couple of these teams are decent. 8 teams, so we'll probably definitely get to play in the tournament. If we don't finish 4th, I'll be upset. If we don't finish top 4, I'll be pretty upset. I've never went into a conference and not finished top half. So I want to keep that going. But how did it work whenever I set my own strategy? Well, you can see a big difference took place. We beat the absolute piss out of Binghamton. Sorry, Harrison. I didn't even expect to do this to the level that we did. And, y'all kept it close in the first half. But then my strategy came in, baby. Them settings hit. I agree. Yeah, I mean, if Brown was last place last year, even better. So I think the settings work pretty good. I don't even know if we were at home. I don't know what were we at home? Yeah, we were at home. So that helps, but it probably doesn't help 29 points. Let's look at the team stats. So I can say I watched the game. We started pretty rough from 3, but we pulled it together. So we majorly out-rebounded them. We moved the ball way better than them. And we turned them over more times. Now, how much sauce do I reveal right here? I will just make the disclaimer that everything I say going forward has absolutely nothing to do with anything I do in JBL. In JBL 3, that's my pride and joy. I'm not giving away any sauce or any secrets of the beautiful Trey. But I'll give away sauce here because I don't care. I mean, if you beat me at Brown, whatever. What I'm happy with here and why we won the game is because we took 67 shots and they took 58. My thought about CJBL is if I take more shots than you, I just simply have more chances to win because the team that scores the most points wins the game. And if I have more chances to score more points than you, that's a good thing for me. If I can take more shots than you and be more efficient than you, it's impossible to beat me. So, everything that I'm going to do with Brown, I don't have a lot of talent. I'm not going to get marquee, guys. To be honest with you, I literally might fill my roster with transfers only every single season. I don't even have interest in high school recruiting with Brown. That's what I did this year. I added a ton of transfers, didn't even sign a high school guy, even though we had scholarships open, and we're just going to be the transfer team. But we took way more shots than them, and we were more efficient than them. It's just impossible to win, or for them to win when you do that. So let's go back to the strategy settings. I feel pretty good about how I went against Binghamton. I don't know how to say that. Binghamton? Binghamton? Ridiculous name. I will say their logo goes hard. What does their campus look like? Okay. Not really what I would have expected. Aren't they in New York? Yeah, when I think of New York, I just think of Crime City. Yeah, there's New York to me. But anyway, screw all this. I guess this is whatever the guy before me had set up. Wasn't it Elias? Yes, it is Harrison's alma mater. Elias didn't have Brown before me? Who did? JP? Okay. I don't know JP. Here's what JP set up. I assume this is all just neutral settings, but I look at this and I say, nah. He is caretaking? Yeah, I mean, no shade to him. But nah, we're not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and clear all this out. Clearing all this out. Screw all that. And then let's refer back. Let's move these over here. Let's refer back to the roster. And honestly, I'm not going to rely on that. I'm going to do exactly what I would normally do. Maybe I got it wrong. I'm going to just go position by position. I'm going to look at every point guard, every guy that could be a point guard, and I'm going to see who's going to be my point guard. I don't know any of these guys. I've only looked at them. This is my third time ever. So, I might see something that I didn't see the other times. Okaji. This is a guy I got in transfers. So, I like that he can shoot threes. Really good self creation and shoot off dribble. Super high gravity. Decent defense. So off the rip, Rufus O'Quinn. Well, he does have 20 pick and roll and 19 ball handling. I just think Okaji's better. So it's really going to be between Bear, I guess, and Okaji. So why did I pick Bear? Well, he's a much better ball handler. And he's better at pick and roll. Huh. He's also 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan. I'm going to be honest. Oh, and he's got 17 finishing. Okay. I think he's just a little bit more well-rounded with the finishing and the ball handling. But honestly, Okaji's not bad at all. I'm going to stick with what I had here. I like the size. I don't think there's going to be a lot of big point guards in the Ivy League. Plus, I don't know who, do you ever just look at a guy's player page and you just like what you see? 20 work ethic, and he's confident. And he's just never really been given a chance. This guy's a fifth-year senior. This guy's trying to eat, dude. This guy's trying to feed his family. How did he play against Bing? What did he do with the opportunity I gave him? Yeah, he cooked, dude. He shot 50%. He shot 75% effective field goal percentage, 12 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. Like a 60 net rating. He cooked. I'm not gonna. Time for cough drop number 1. I'm not gonna mess with it. I like Garvey. So, going back over here. Where is he? All right. We start painting. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Zins are my cough drop. Not a nicotine guy. I'm giving him 32 minutes. I don't care. And I'm just going to change this as a go-to. Because I just feel like this guy's wanting to feed his family. I feel like this guy is wanting to put on a show. I mean, like I said, the guy's a fifth-year senior. He's never really gotten to play. They totally disrespected him at Lamar. Tulsa tried to give him a chance, and he actually played good. 8 points as a freshman. This guy deserves a chance. Who do I got at shooting guard? Here's just all the dudes that I could play at shooting guard. So I got Gilbert. This guy's just a sick, nasty freak as a offensive player. Just a sick, nasty ISO freak with tons of gravity. This guy's not nearly as good. I'm not even going to look at him twice. Screw him. And then this guy's good. Not as good as him, but good. Not as ball dominant either. Really, really irritates me that he can't pass. But again, he's a workhorse. This guy will work hard. He was at Brown last year as a starter. So maybe a little cohesion too. What about this guy? No, he was at UNC Greensboro. And you see, can I call this the gauge effect from 2 to 20 points? I don't know how to make it more clear. That's basically what I do. Offense, baby. So the question, these guys are obviously going to be my wing guys. He's a little bigger wingspan. I'm going to put him at small forward. And we're giving him 32 minutes too. And then the other guy, we're going to let him play a little bit of shooting guard. I don't even know if he's ever played shooting guard. Yeah, he's played a lot of shooting guard, and he has played mostly small forward. So, look, we're hitting the nail on the head. Okay, so already I've got 3 of my 5 starters locked in. And I feel good about them. These guys are nasty. I mean, I think on any team I would like these guys. So I've got 3-point shooting. Let me get all their scoutings pulled back up. I've got 3-point shooting across the board. I've got solid defense from these two. He's not a great defender, but, he's a defensive playmaker. He can get some steals. And he's a nasty offensive player. We don't even care if he plays good defense. We're at Brown. We're in the Ivy League. We don't need, everybody to be a two-way stud. We're at Brown. He's also egotistical, which I like. Because look at him. He wants to ISO. The dude's trying to shoot off the dribble. He's ball dominant. Yeah, I want him to be egotistical. Because, in this game, egotistical players only really get upset if you don't feed them. I'm going to feed the big dog. I'm saying, Gilbert, you are who you think you are. And I'm going to help you show the world. I also just realized he's a sophomore. Holy moly. This guy will be an All-American by his senior year. That's a fact. Props to whoever recruited him. Couldn't be me. I'm a transfer merchant. But, yeah, I feel good about this perimeter gang. Yeah, dude. Look at these guys. I feel real good. So now we got to figure out the front court. Let's pull up all these bozos. Now, this is where I felt pretty strong about what I picked earlier for the Binghamton game, but I could change my mind here. So, I'm just going to click through them and see who's going to be my anchor defender. I'm going to just see who's going to anchor the paint for me. So, 17, 17's again. All right, there we go. So, I'm kind of just letting my eyes hover right here, and I'm noticing that beautiful dark blue. This is my anchor. He's 6'10", 7'1". He's from Kentucky. Oh, gosh. Maybe I love this team. He's driven. He has a huge work ethic. Big wingspan. He can play post defense. He can play help defense. Not the best rebounder, but who cares? He's pretty strong. And look at this offensive game. He's not just a defender. He's got post execution, finishing, foul drawing, inside shooting. So that's undoubtedly going to be my center. Best anchor big I have on the roster. What was his name? Seguin. All right, now who's going to play beside him? Well, this guy's a bum. He has the worst defense of all of them. So, again, I'm just kind of letting my eyes hover right here because I can live with a, big guy not having great offense at this point. I can't live with him having bad defense because I've already got 3 guys on offense that I really like. My point guard and my wings. So I'm not looking for a bunch of offense from these guys. I'm looking for post defense and rim protection. So who did I pick earlier? Jean-Pierre. Okay, so I can see why I picked him. So you've got 16, 15. Well, with 17's over here, I'm not picking him. Then you've got 17, 14. Again, I'm not going to pick 14 rim protection over 17, so I'm going to get rid of him. I don't really need size because I feel good about my anchor big. So it's down between these two. And as I click back and forth, well, I'm noticing that only one of them has offensive game. 20 finishing, 18 inside shooting, 18 free throw, 18 post execution, and he's pretty good at defense. He can play strong. Yeah. I mean, he's going to finish out the starting lineup. And you know what? You know what I noticed as we were going through these players? The guys that I picked to be starters are way, way, way better than the ones that I did not pick to be starters. So that gets into lesson number 1. Why am I about to do 32 minutes on the starters in hockey lineups? Well, I want my best players on the court literally as much as possible. I think if I play them more than this, they will break their legs. So I'm stopping here. I also think that, like myself, my opponents are going to play their worst players in the middle of the half, because that's where everybody tries to hide, their guys. Oh, they play a couple blocks. Maybe you want to make sure they don't get fatigued, start throwing in them second unit guys. Well, I want my second unit guys to be out there at the same time that their second unit guys are out there. And maybe I get lucky and have, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I don't know. I mean, just this block, this block, this block, and this block. The chance that they have their full starting lineup out is probably low. So that's 8 minutes out of the game that I have a much better lineup than them out there. I feel pretty good about that. If I can even go up a couple points in these little stretches, that's going to help a lot. And also, of course, I want my starters starting and ending these halves when they do have their best players out there. So, I just... I'm going to keep it to CJBL, but I just don't believe in... When you look at somebody's rotations, and look, I'm sure there's people that disagree with me about this, and I'm sure there's people that win a lot that do the complete opposite as me. That's fine. But if I see 15 different iterations of your team on the court in one game, it disgusts me. I just want to control as much as I can control. How do you even get good lineup data when you're playing 10 plus lineups? Seriously, how are you even going to find out which groups are working when they're playing 2 or 4 minutes at a time against other random lineups? You don't know anything. So, if for no other reason than lineup data, I like this. That's what I'm going with. But I got to figure out who's going to be my second unit guys. I'm not going to go through the whole process like I did with the starters, just because it's kind of tedious. So I'm going to throw who I had back in there. O'Quinn, if you remember, had 20 pick and roll execution. So even though I'm kind of using 2-point guards, or I guess it's 19. Actually, I'm just kind of realizing all these ratings are pre-training camp because I didn't update it. So these are all probably a little low across the board. But yeah, I'll let the guy with 19 pick and roll execution. And I think he also has a little bit better ball handling. So, and he's shorter. So I'm going to let him run point. I'll let Okaji, who I actually really like. Okaji was like my favorite guy I got out of the transfer portal. But, he's not as good as the other guys. And I don't play favorites. So he's going to be a backup. Dreher, this is probably the crappiest player on the court in the game for me. I just don't like him. Everybody else that will play minutes for me has some redeeming quality. I think he's just kind of bad. And then Daniels. Now, here's the interesting thing, too. And I'm not saying I'm a genius or savant for doing this. I just think that other people don't do it very often. Everybody is afraid to play guys that, quote unquote, shouldn't play. Because if you go to my team, I'll tell you that the very, very first thing I did when I took over Brown was I pulled this page up and I saw that I had a senior, Albert Daniels, who had 3.5-star current ability and 4-star potential. And I went to the trade chat and I said, wow, I have a 4-star pro potential player on Brown. And Harrison was saying, yeah, he's pretty good. And let's just pull him up. Last year, he's been a 3-year starter at Brown. And he's been pretty terrible. Sub 10 points, sub 10 rebounds, god-awful efficiency. And, I mean, abysmal net rating. Horrible turnover percentage. I mean, decent. But he has sucked. He has sucked. And so despite, this flashy, I think people get enamored by this. I mean, I'm sure out of 370 ADs, I'm not the only one who's ever done that. But he sucks. And so you cannot be afraid to say, you know what? You've started here 3 years. You're playing 8 minutes this year. If you do good with those 8 minutes, we'll talk about it. But I don't care about Elbert Daniels' clout on campus. He's not been any good. So he's been demoted. And then Dykstra. He's pretty solid. Oh, wait. I did this before. Oh. Yeah, okay. So now let me update this with the backup. So Okaji, or no, it's actually O'Quinn, Okaji. I'm not going to do the whole thing. So don't click away if this bores you. I'm just going to do the second unit, and then I'm going to move on and save it later. Dykstra, and then, yeah. So this is what I'm rocking with. And then I can go ahead and switch this too. But I feel good about this. I've got offense. I've got a defensive anchor. Well, actually, I'll deal with that later too. So now the next thing, I know who's going to play for me. Like at the pro level, I think it would be way more complicated rotations-wise. I would be way more thoughtful about it. But to me, at an extremely low prestige program, at the level of competition I'm going to be facing, I just want my best guys out there. I don't really care about anything more than that. So I feel like I've got my best five out there the vast majority of the game. I feel good about that. So now what am I actually going to make them do? All right. So this is where I go back to the ratings. And I just kind of one by one ask myself what fits best. So I would never run slower. Dude, I got so many alarms going off. I'd rather die than run slower. I'm just not going to. But why would you give up, transition points for the fun of it? So the question is, am I going balance or faster? Well, when I check out this little group that I've assembled, which, by the way, let me just delete this because I'm never going to go back to those other. They're not the fastest. They're not the quickest. I think endurance-wise, they could make it. But realistically, with these shooters and the finishers and the pick and roll, I'd probably rather be in the half-court sets more. So I'm going to go balanced. Offensive focus. So I'll tell you right off the bat, I would never personally do inside or bully ball. I would also personally never do outside. So the question for me, just based on what I like, is am I going to go balanced drive or pick and roll heavy? We run a balanced system, so I've already kind of got that. If you don't know, drive is going to be a lot of ISO. It's going to be guys who are handling the ball on the perimeter and just trying to break their man down. I mean, it's based on individual skill. Your guy versus their guy, and you're taking them to the rack, or you're hitting a crossover pull-up three. You're doing that kind of thing. Who would have thought Gage could be insightful? Well, I actually think it's to my great, great advantage as a GM and AD that I'm viewed as an idiot. Because, one, it's absolutely hilarious when I win. And two, I want my opponents to think I'm stupid. That's exactly where I want them. So, yeah, drive is your guys breaking down their guys. So let's see. I got a lot of self-creation. I've got a lot of ISO. I've got good enough finishing. And I've got some ball handlers. Drive is not what I used against Binghamton, but this team's kind of perfect for drive. Pick and roll heavy. So the thing about pick and roll is you're basically creating chaos for the defense, because every action in a pick and roll makes you choose 50 different things. I mean, think about the defense page itself. Hold on, I'm going to get a drink. If you just think about the nature of the defensive page, you only have a couple options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 of the 6 are about pick and rolls. Screen defense on the guards and screen defense on the bigs. So every time that you run a pick and roll, which, let's see, these are the only 3 I'd ever consider running. And you can see that pick and roll ball handler is second or third on all of these. And I don't think I'm the only one around the JBL universe who would lean towards these 3. And I know that there's a lot out there who wouldn't. So if you're not one of them, then whatever. But pick and roll is going to be something that's used a lot, whether you go pick and roll heavy or not. And every time that you run one, a guard has to decide, am I going to go over the big that just set it, under him, or switch? Depending on what that guard does, opens up all kinds of options. If they do go over, well, that's going to create an opportunity for you to score inside. Because while the guard is fighting over that screen, in the middle of the court and in the paint area, they are not down there. I hope this is not where I start coughing nonstop. If it is, I'm just going to mute a lot. If you go under with your guards, I've got 3 guys who are going to light you up. And if you switch, that's okay. I know there's teams built for switching, but most of them are not. And you're going to get absolutely fried when your power forward switches on to one of these guys. With their self-creation and shot-off dribble and ISO and ball handling, your bigs, no matter how good you think they are on the perimeter, are going to likely get cooked. And that's just the guards. Look at all these decisions having to be made. And no matter what you pick, something is open for me. And then you go to the bigs, they can either drop, hedge, or blitz. So if they drop, it's exactly what you think it is. They're dropping back towards the basket and protecting the rim. If they hedge, they're kind of guarding that screen for a second. They're not immediately dropping back. They kind of stay up there for a second and then they drop back, which creates a bunch of problems for the defense. And if they blitz, they're basically trying to turn the ball handler over and I guess you could say trap them. I don't know if that's the right way to word it. And now the paint's wide open. My point is, when you run pick and roll, the defense is just there's so many ways for it to go wrong for the defense. So, I like that. I've never run pick and roll heavy before at any level with any team. So I'm actually going to go pick and roll. I ran that against Bing and went really good for us. And I've never done it, so I just want to try it. I do think drive is best for this team. I'm not so sure that I won't switch to it by the end of the season, but just for fun's sake, because it's Brown, I'm going to pick and roll just because I like the idea of the defense just being in shambles. Elias says, if your starting lineup is full of non-ball dominant guys, would you run egalitarian? No. I'm going to keep taking this cough drop in and out. I would never run egalitarian for literally any reason. I probably wouldn't even run natural. I don't know who's in here right now. I don't know if it'll show me. I don't know how familiar everyone that's in here is with me, but I am a SAS disciple. And what my master SAS taught me is never do anything other than helio, if for no other reason than because you have complete control over your usage. And with these other options, you do not. So even if I don't have a very ball dominant, great ISO score, a typical heliocentric guy, I don't really care, because when I run heliocentric, and I full with this hierarchy, I can basically make whoever shoot however much I want. So I like the control. I love being able, I mean, if we go over to JBL and we go, I'm still getting used to this new site. Will it show us our stats from last year? Yeah. So Bryce Ham had a 33% usage and scored 23 points a game. So let's look at Bryce Ham. Beautiful. Where does it show? Before we do this, I must point out. Oh, I'm in JBL. Sorry. Over to Trey. Rookie of the Year winner Bryce Ham. That makes a lot more sense. When I go to his scouting page, let's try to figure out if this is a guy who should have 33% usage. Well, he can't create for himself, and he can't shoot off the dribble, and he has an 8-ball dominance, and yet I got him to shoot 18 shots a game. Now, I did that for a very specific reason, not to win basketball games or because it's a good strategy. I did that because I was in a rebuild year, and I didn't care if I won. In fact, I really didn't want to win. And this was a guy that is very controversial that I took at pick 8, which has a really high potential, but has a lot of gaps in his game, especially on defense. And I would like to see his self-creation and ball dominance go up. Because with the way his defense is, if he's not contributing offensively, I probably don't want him on the court. If he's not involved heavily in the offense, there's really no reason for him to be out there. He's not athletic, and he's not a good defender. He's only an okay rebounder. So I need him to be good on offense if he's going to be out on the court. And seeing that I traded 3 first-round picks for him, I need him to be on the court. So my thought was, I'm going to pump this guy full of so much usage that he just has to get good. That was recommended to me by someone that you guys would be shocked if I told you his name. I think that's a funny thing about some of the things that I do is I never say names, but a lot of the ideas that I get and a lot of the things that I do are suggested to me by people that literally everybody looks up to. Yeah, he's super nasty. He's absolutely filthy. He's going to be sick, dude. If I was on my work computer, I'd pull up his college scouting page, or actually, I have it. Actually, I can't go through my DMs with myself because I have all kinds of top secret info in there. That's a tip. Use your DMs on Slack with yourself. You can have a DM with yourself. Put all your notes and stuff in there. I put a lot of stuff in there, so I don't want to show you. But the point is, this is not a guy who should be at the top of the Helio, but, you can manipulate it for whatever reasons that you want. Another example is Razul Keller. So he ended up having... Okay. Obviously, the new site is not done. Looks like, I'm assuming that's 22 and a half, down from 26 the year before. Well, I realized with Razul Keller in his rookie season, okay, I'm going to have to go to the old site because I don't like the way the new site shows stuff because it's not done. Let me pull Keller up. So in his rookie season, he scored 17 points a game, which I was happy about. He had a 26% usage. But what I noticed is that he was really inefficient. I mean, even for a rookie, 48 is pretty bad. So what I thought with Keller, again, he's not a shoot-off dribble guy. He's not a ball-dominant guy. But he's an elite 3-and-D guy. He's got really good... I mean, mind you, he's 21. I mean, this rating could get up to 20 with ease. 17 three-point shooting. He can shoot at all three levels. Really good finisher. He can ISO. He's got high IQ. If the play breaks down, he can pass it. Excellent gravity and spacing. Not the best ball handling, but he's also not really one to turn it over too much, probably because of the IQ. And just a nasty defender. Good rebounder. Like, he's just an all-around guy. But I realized, okay, this is probably not a dominant scorer. So what if I take that usage from 26 to like 22? And what do you know? He actually went to 56 effective field goal percentage. And it's not like he wasn't shooting. He took 10 shots a game. And 2.5 free throws too. So I didn't nuke him. I didn't just put him in the closet and say, hey, you're not allowed out anymore. I just said, let me fool around with this hierarchy and put you in a better position. And it really unlocked him. And I'll do the same thing with Ham next year. I've already got it set up. He's going to be probably a guy who went from, which we argue a lot in the tray about this. This is totally average, just on par with average efficiency for a top rookie. I'm totally expecting this to get closer to 55. And for me, on my teams, if you don't shoot 55% effective field goal percentage, you're not going to play anymore on my team if you're a vet. So, young guys, I can bear it, but the heliocentric gives you so much advantage, not against your opponents necessarily, although it could, depend on your personnel. It gives you so much advantage on, like, making your team what you want it to be. So, all that said, that's a really good question, Elias. I hope that's helpful to somebody. I'm going Helio, and I'm going to go set plays on the Freedom just because I don't really want these guys freelancing. They're not the most talented guys. I like them, but I'd rather have more structure than Freedom. And then I'm going to go prefer Star ISO because I think Gilbert is nasty. So what I'm going to do with playmakers, I don't like to muddy it up. I'm going to put my starting point guard, and I'm going to put my backup point guard. That way, when they are on the court, everybody knows who everything is flowing through. There's no questions. And they can be the facilitators for everybody else. Well, I'm a little torn because I do have 2 point guards out there who can both handle the ball really well. So I'm actually not... I'm going to put him there too. And then I'm just... I can't save yet. Now, I'll come back to the hierarchy because it's the trickiest and most important thing in the game to me, offensively. So, what do I want to do with these Brown defenders? As usual, I come back to my little playbook that tells me what these guys are, and I can see that I have decent defenders out on the perimeter, pretty bad defender on the wing. I actually feel I have solid defenders in the paint. I will say I never base anything off of anything other than the starters. I am not going to be making strategy decisions for guys playing 8 minutes. I wouldn't even be making strategy decisions on them if they were playing 16 minutes. They're just not on the floor enough, and they're not my team. Like, to me, my starters, my best 5, like, that's my team. These guys, like, all I ever want from my second unit is to not get me killed. Like, don't bleed to death. You can get stabbed, you can get beat up, but don't kill us. In the minutes that you're out there, don't get us killed. So I'm not making decisions based on those guys. I'm making decisions based on the guys I believe enough to put out there as starters. So what I see is, like, we're not the toughest perimeter defense team. We're a solid interior defense team, but we have some playmakers on defense. We got some guys that might be able to poke some steals out. We're also not quick at all. So I'm going to try to lean into that. I'm going to try to lean into the one decent thing that these guys have got. I'm going to go aggressive. And I honestly cannot remember what I did defensively against Binghamton, which is quite annoying. I'm going to leave the focus on balance. I don't really want, either interior or perimeter going awry. So, aggressive, balanced. I believe in my interior defense enough to not go under. And plus, I just feel like there's more teams out there that are going to be trying to shoot threes than are going to try to be drive in all game. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go over. Obviously, we have a really little team. Well, I guess it's not really little, but it's not that switchy. I mean, these guys can't step out at all, and these guys are going to get cooked by a big guy. So I don't want them switching at all. I'll just have them go over, fight through the screens, contest the threes. And you know what? If you guys want to try to deal with Seguin down there with a 19 rim protection, God bless you. I'll let you go for that. I'd rather you do that, or I'd rather you shoot a mid-range shot, which I'll scoff and laugh at. If you shoot a mid-range shot against me, I'll start laughing at you. So, sure, take your mid-range shots. Go face the big guy with 19 blocking. I'll be fighting over to try to stop threes. And I'm dropping him. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not overthinking it. He's a big, nasty paint protector. I'm dropping him. So, aggressive, balance, over, drop. Now, here's another thing that I want to do. I did this against Bing. I don't know how good it worked. Actually, wasn't that impressed with the results. I'm going to press literally nonstop. And this is where I do want to flip over to the new site. Has a really cool feature that Commish has added where you get feedback on what you pick. So, obviously, I'm doing it on the old site, but I'm going to just set it up exactly how I just did. Now, what Commish decided to describe this defensive system is 94 feet of hell. That sounds good to me. I like that. I'm not going to play zone because these guys are dummies. They have no IQ. I am not trusting them to make the right movements and rotation. Screw that. Stick to your man. Guard him. Don't worry about anything else. I'm just going to set that. If I did play zone, if it accidentally got clicked on, because that's more of a chaos-causing zone. But, yeah, I'm going to go aggressive, and I'm going to press. Now, the reality behind that is a lot of times I'm going to get beat on that press, and they're going to get an easy basket. But you know what? A couple times a game, maybe 5 to 10 times a game, I'm going to cause chaos and turn you over, and that's good enough for me because that's exactly how I shot 10 more shots than Bing. So, now, what am I going to do? Well, I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to not pick box out on defense because no matter how good your defense is, your defensive possession doesn't end until the ball is back in your hand. So as long as the ball is in the other team's hand, my number one priority is to get it not in their hands. And the best way to do that, you might get, 10 steals a game, but you're probably going to get 30 to 50 rebounds a game. I want to make sure that we're crashing the boards. I don't really care about getting down in transition. Like I said, I'm happy with pick and roll, half-court sets. If you're like a 7 seconds or less team who's just trying to blaze down the court and kill teams through speed, sure, don't box out hard, I guess. Maybe that will hurt some of your guys leaking out, but for me, that's not how I'm going to play, so box out. And then the second thing I'm going to do is defensive communication, just because these guys are low IQ, and I am having them press, so it's not the most brainy thing to ask them to do, compared to, say, doing a zone or something like that. But, defensive communication helps switching and help defense. And, if the press does break down, I would like for the help defense to kick in. So I'm going to try to give them a little boost there. I didn't pick these. Okay. So for the offensive emphasis, like I said, my team is not going to beat anybody by talent. So I'm going to try to beat them with fundamentals. I'm going to try to protect the ball, try to make sure I'm shooting more shots than them, and I'm going to try to get to the rim. That's where the easiest shots are. It's easier to make a shot from 2 feet than from 20 feet or from 30 feet. So I'm going to send them guys to the rim. Now, I believe that for some reason, even though everything else went away from what I picked earlier, the hierarchy stayed. So I'm just going to, again, show you how I would determine that, which the funny thing is it's like a crude method. It's not anything too crazy, but it works for me. So I'm opening up their scouting pages again, as I do thousands and thousands of times a day with the Nashville Stars. And I'm just going to look. So I'm kind of clicking through, and I'm looking. My eyes are now focusing right here. I want to see who can create for themselves and can they shoot once they've done it. So 1817, 1816. So I'm going to move him over. Oh, 1819. That's pure filth. Okay, so those are my guys. So now that I've kind of got the idea of these are the guys that can make something happen for themselves even when nobody else is doing their part. It's these three. Ross Dempor, Oluma. Dude, why did I have these crazy players' names? And Okaji. Now, the next thing is who actually wants the ball. Well, he's got an 18 ball dominance. He wants it. He's got a 15. He actually doesn't want it that much, even though he can do it. And also, he can ISO. He's got a lot of gravity. He can pass. That's important to me. I don't want to put people, with a lot of usage if they can only do things for themselves. Because at the end of the day, even the best players are going to sometimes get stopped. And the question is, when they get stopped, what next? Because if all they can do is provide for themselves and make sure they eat, once they get stopped, your possession's dead. But if he gets stopped, he's got 16 passing. He can move the ball to somebody else. And that's what I'm looking for. Same thing, 15 passing, 11 passing. So each of these two guys, how did I do it? Did I forget to pull up? Okay, I'll explain the way that I did it. So that was a method that I would use, but you also have to kind of inject more context in because, again, you're not trying to figure out who is the best individual player. You're trying to figure out how do these players work best together. This guy wants the ball a lot and does really good things when he has the ball, so I'm just going to grant him that. I'm going to give it to him all the time. This guy does not want the ball a lot but does really good things when he has it. And then this is my point guard. The way I see it, I don't want any big on this team really doing anything. They're just not very good at scoring. I had a couple guys who could score inside, but I'm not trying to beat teams by scoring inside with Brown, a layup or a post move here and there. I want these dynamic wings I mean, because really, I mean, he's a point guard, but he's 6'7". I want these dynamic wings getting all the shots up. So I just decided to put the guys who would be playing the most, top 3, in order of how much I'd want them to shoot. And then I put him 4 because he's in the second unit. And so I don't know if people realize this, but whenever a player goes off the court, he can't be in the hierarchy. So, you know, if these 3 are off the court, and they always do go off the court together, he's now number 1 in the hierarchy. So even though he's 4th, he's really 1st. And I'm really happy with that because he can self-create. He can shoot off the dribble. He's got great gravity. He's got great passing. He can handle the ball. He can finish. He can run a little pick and roll. At the end of he's quick. He's got straight line speed. He's athletic. So, you know, that's a guy that when my second unit comes in, I hope he's shooting the ball as much as he can. Let's see if he actually did that against Bing. He didn't. And, you know, sometimes it works out that way. But, you know, he did have a basically plus 80 net rating. So, you know, I'll take it. But, yeah. So, when my first unit's out, I want everything to kind of be based around these guys. When my second unit's out there, I'm not as happy, but I'll take these guys in order. One thing that, no, I'm not going to say that. I can't give away too much. But one thing I will give away, because I think that there's people that genuinely don't understand the hierarchy, and I have been blessed to talk to a lot of people who are kind of masters of it, Saz. So, one thing you can do, you know, Gilbert Rostenpour is a guy who is a legit number 1, but let's say I didn't have a guy that was a legit number 1. And I did not have a guy who I felt was a legit number 1 at Nevada last year. I wish I could show you guys on screen what I did with him. You'd laugh out loud, but I'll simulate it here. So if you have a team, like Elias said, you don't have a guy who's elite. You don't have a guy who is obviously should take 20 shots. Or you just don't have personnel that any of them should be taking 20 shots. Maybe you want to even it out more. What you can do is you need to understand how this hierarchy works. From 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, these spots receive a boost. If you have a player in the top 6 of your hierarchy, they get a boost. I don't know if it's to their ball dominance or to their usage. They get a boost in touches. Now, from 7 and on, they do not get a boost. I swear it says that. I guess it doesn't say that here. I wonder if it says it in the pro. I know that to be true because I was told. I haven't even set up any of my stuff for the stars, so no point in looking at that. But the reality is these top 6 spots are getting a boost. So you want to use that information wisely because it's not equally weighted. When you put a guy in the number 1 spot, he's getting a huge boost. A little less at 2, a little less at 3, all the way down to 6. So even though 6 and 1 are both getting a boost, he's getting boosted into the stratosphere, and he's going to probably take a couple more shots than he would have. So if you have a team where you don't want to super boost people, what you can do is take a guy who is not going to play at all, and you can only do this with guys who will never, ever touch the court. But what you can do is you can put him 1, and it just kind of acts as a buffer to say, I want this guy to get a boost, but I don't want him to get the full boost. And this is just a placeholder, and that's totally legal. I mean, I learned that from thinking JBL. I'm sure a lot of other people learned that from thinking JBL the first time Saz ever came on. So this isn't any trickery. This isn't any, shady tactic. This is just the way the hierarchy works at this time, and it can be really helpful for dialing in how many shots people are getting, because not every team has a guy who should shoot that much. So do with that with what you will. Now let me set up the rest of this. This is gonna be boring, but I guess I'll talk about the depth chart. I find the depth chart very confusing when I started. I didn't really understood what it meant until I realized that it's just, and I'm sure you guys know this, but it's just, if this guy gets hurt, this guy's coming in. If he gets hurt, this guy's coming in. What I normally will do with the bigs is just kind of, well, that's not right. Oh, okay. It's not even got all my starters right, so... Alumia. Just bear with me, guys. This ain't gonna take very long. Jean-Pierre, and then we had Seguin. Once you get the starters down, it's really just a breeze from there. Filling in the rest of these spots. So I'm so used to going back and forth between the old and new sites now that these colors, like it used to be embedded in my mind that power forward was yellow, but it's not yellow on the new site. So I'm kind of a little slow on doing this now. I'm just going to mirror here. I'm going to put my starters in the 4 spot, and then I'll put Daniels over here. I'll put Dykstra over here. I don't really care too much about this. I mean, I don't expect to get to my 4th guy, but if I do, it's whatever. I'll put him there. Well, these are always the trickiest for me, and I don't have all these players deeply memorized. I'm going to kind of just do the same thing. I can fix it later if I want to. I'm just going to put the starter last, and well, I can't. I don't have another small forward, truthfully. I'll put him, and then yes, sir. So now that it is saved, which, by the way, I'm screenshotting all this because if this messes up again, I can't bear to do it again. I'm not gonna mess with this too much. I know some people are really into this. I'm not really into this. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I just think it just comes down to if your team is good. When I had a really elite team in JBL and in CJBL, my defense was elite. And when I had a crappy team, my defense was crappy. But I know guys that will adjust all of this, each game, because who's at Tulsa right now? Is that GM newcomer Kane? Saz? My very own master? I play my own master Saz next game? And he's 1-0? He has 1,000 players? Wow. That's going to be a battle for the ages. But yeah, so if you go into the strategy and pick your opponent, you can set, who guards who. Physicality, intensity, you can override it. I just don't care, dude. It's like, my defense is either going to stop you or it's not. I will say that in the JBL playoffs, or maybe the CJBL tournament, or even conference tournament, I can definitely see it. But dude, if I'm playing Tulsa or Radford, and I'm not crapping on those schools, I'm Brown, but it's like, I'm not going to do all that for them. My defense is either going to work or it's not. So sick of this cold, bro. So I want to go over to the new site now that I have all my stuff set up. And let's see what it says. It says in my offense is pick your poison. I don't know what that means, but I like the sound of it because it would imply that I've got some poisonous fellows on this team. I can't get over this guy. Oh, I got him in transfers? And he's 19? And he's this good? I'm sorry. This guy is awesome. I'm trying to think. Quintrell Bates at Kent State is the only offensive player I've had that is this good. And also, I can't remember his name, but I got a guy in the portal who was either a wing that I use at point guard or vice versa. He was also really good. Gilbert is nasty. Now, he ain't going to play no defense, but again, I don't really need him to. Who cares? It's like I'm playing Tulsa. Is Tulsa good? Am I crapping on good teams? Oh. Sorry about the alarm. It's one of them is to dry my clothes and one of them is to take a shower. I'll turn my ringer down. I have like 1,000 alarms set for 1,000 things. And I never, as you can see, take heed to any of them. But man, I like this. Pick your poison and 94 feet of hell. That just sounds good. An alarm to take a shower. Well, you know, the thing about me is I'm a night owl. And I like to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning on a work day and get up at 7:30 and feel so terrible that I don't feel like a human being. And do this so many days in a row that I'm struggling to even survive. So, in theory, the shower alarm is supposed to kind of be like, come on, dude. And I actually listen to it most of the time. But tonight I wanted to stream. Son, my cats are... I would move the camera and show them, but they're going to jet off. They act like fools at night, man. Stop being bad. Lay down. I have 2 cats, and they act crazy at night. But I don't know what to think about this. I haven't obviously had any games played on here on the new site. I almost feel like he created it to kind of break even, because look at this. General. You're saying that just in general I'm a vulnerability? I don't know, man. That seems harsh. And then over here, general. So the strengths are more tailored to what I do and what I've specifically picked, but the vulnerabilities are just general. But when you look at them, it says aggressive drives increase turnover risk, which I have to imagine is because I've said get to rim. And then whenever it says cannot be aggressive and protect the ball equally, so I don't think it's general. It's my offensive settings, but that's fine. I mean, this is no dig at Commish at all. I mean, I know that all of this is not done. I've just been curious about it, because as you flip through the options, and I guess I'm probably talking to JBL people who just got access to this site. We've had it for a while. Dude, you can make this say a lot of different things. So, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to shape up. I do like this, though, the advantages and the counters and front office. That's for a pro. I don't even know why that's on there. So yeah, a pick your poison, 94 feet of hell team. I like that. I think we're gonna win. Who do we have kind of coming up on the schedule? Oh, good. Some rankings. So I can't believe we lost to this team as bad as we did. Ray Davis, I like Ray. He's a Trey guy. Congrats on beating me severely. But, you know. So I've got 205 Tulsa. Look at all these teams, man. I think that Brown might win a lot of games this year. But what are we ranked? Am I talking foolish? 289. Yeah. That doesn't really mean anything because, I mean, this was literally an AI-generated strategy against Ray and Texas A&M Commerce. I'm going to say away games are going to be hard for us, but all these games, like, I feel like if it's 200 or lower, we have a great shot against. We're not, what did it say we are? We're not near the 300th best team. I think we can finish top 200. Why not? Look at this schedule. Now, I would say there's some really tough games. Okay, so Penn, Princeton, Cornell, whoever asked earlier, those teams. Yeah, so fourth. That's my goal. Harvard. Okay, so Harvard's got to be my big, opponent because I know that at Brown, where we are right now, I think we can rise. Where we are right now, we're not beating Penn or Cornell or Princeton. Probably not even beating Harvard. But I think we can handle the rest of these teams. So that's got to be my goal. I got to crack the top 4 of the Ivy before I go to 1. Just little bites. How do you, what is that saying? My boss always says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time? I don't think it's legal to eat an elephant with any amount of bites, but that's his thing. Yeah, dude, I see maybe like one loss and out of conference. Tennessee Martin. And it's Wayne. We can beat Wayne. I mean, it's no disrespect to Wayne. I love Wayne-O. But we can beat Wayne. I can see us being undefeated coming into conference. These are winnable games. And with the scheduling, I just thought, screw it, we're Brown. I mean, why would I schedule hard? I can't get the only way I can get a tournament bid is winning my conference. You think I'm scheduling hard games when I don't have to? We're just trying to get some wins under our belt. It really just bothers me that I'm 1-1. I'm not 1-1. I'm 1-0. And now forever, there will be this little asterisk. I didn't lose that game. The AI lost that game. Although I can say, considering I didn't set my lineups, I guess I deserved it. Look at this, though. In case you were wondering about if that lineup worked. 63 net rating. How about that? Plus 32. How about that? What if you were wondering if the backup group worked well together? I can't remember. Okay. Is this mine? Yeah. Coincidentally, this lineup did decent, but I didn't make this. This was AI generated. The one I made, negative 53. But you see, I don't really care. Like I said, these guys suck. My second unit is full of terrible players. I don't need them to have a positive net rating to win games. They were -7, and they were plus 32. I mean, as long as they're more plus than they're minus, we can win games. I would prefer them not be negative 53. But I'm going to call that small sample size. And this is small sample size too. They're not going to stay at 63, but I think they did all right. Can he win Player of the Year? Like at the highest level? Probably. All right. I'm probably winding down here, but if anybody has any questions or anything they want me to look at, send them through. I didn't beg for any followers this time. I should have. At one point, there were over 20 people in here, and I should have literally just started begging immediately. Because if I can get 26 more followers, I can become a Twitch affiliate. Let's troll. UNCG. Where did this guy come from? UNCG. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. CJ. Let me call first. You think I'm a troll? You think I'm doing funny business? You think I'm messing around? I just dropped an hour and a half of elite strategy content. And the crown jewel was me taking a 2-point player and making him a 20-point player. You didn't believe in Gilbert? Is it truly him? CJ. Well, you know what? That's all right. Yeah. Yukon. Wow, Mr. Clean. No Nevada. I guess they really fell off. All right, guys. If y'all don't have any questions, I'm probably going to get off here and listen to my shower alarm. But thank you for joining. I didn't cough too much during the stream. Hope that I could help some of y'all. Maybe I'll do some more serious streams coming up. Y'all have a good one.